Hello, everyone. My name is Zohir Chaudhary. Um, Today, we will learn more about IHR, International Health Regulation 2005, and we'll compare this new set of regulation, this revised IHR, with the 1969 IHR and understand the differences in scope and response. In here, we can visualize the evolution of the international health regulation. A quick review. So we can trace the roots of IHR to the first international sanitary regulation adopted in Paris, France back in 1851. These rules were a response to threat from cholera and other infectious diseases from outside Europe. After the World Health Organization was created, the WHO issued its first infectious disease prevention regulations known as the International Sanitary Regulation, and this was the ISR 1951. The ISR 1951 provided a single set of rules to help member states control over the spread of 6 diseases. Then in 1969, WHO revised and consolidated the International Sanitary Regulation, or the ISR, which was renamed as the International Health Regulation, or the IHR, instead of ISR. Later on, this, like by 1995 and so, significant changes was expected because it was important to narrow down the scope of the notifiable diseases to 3: cholera, plague, and yellow fever, because smallpox was taken care of, and then the other diseases were also not significant anymore. But at the same time, also to address the rise of emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases, for example, the emergence of new infectious agents, Ebola, hemorrhaging fever, and the re-emergence of cholera and plague in South America and India, respectively. Also, it was important to have a coordinated mechanism to respond to this spread of international spread of this disease internationally. So all of these challenges were placed against the backdrop of increased travel and trade, which was characterized during the 20th century. And so 2005 IHR came into force. By 15th June 2007, it came into law and was binding by the state party, with a few exceptions. So, 4 important differences between IHR 1969 and IHR 2005. So, from 3 diseases to all public health threats. So that's one very important difference. So the revised IHR recognized that international disease threats have increased. Scope has been expanded from cholera, plague, and yellow fever to all public health emergencies of international concern. They include those caused by infectious diseases, chemical agents, radioactive materials, as well as contaminated food. And we'll talk more about that. The second interesting difference is from preset measure to adopted and tailored response. So international public health security is based on strong national public health infrastructure connected to a global alert and response system known as CORN. This is at the core of IHR. SARS taught us how quickly a new disease can spread along the routes of international air travel. This universal vulnerability creates a need for collective defenses and for shared responsibility in making these defenses work. The containment of SARS was due to unprecedented cooperation between countries, which prevented a new disease gaining a foothold in the human population. So the IHR built on these and many other efforts to respond to and contain disease threats, and will continue helping to ensure that outbreaks and other public health emergencies are detected and investigated more rapidly, and that collective international action is taken to prevent affected to support an affected state so that the disease can be contained and investigated and proper intervention taken to save lives. Then another interesting difference is from control of borders to also include containment at the source. So essentially, rapid response at the source is the most effective way to secure maximum protection against international spread of diseases, which is also key to limiting unnecessary health-based restrictions on trade and travel. And then finally, from a more reactive response to a more proactive response. With respect to the categories of reportable diseases, it was greatly spread, so it was really broadened. So the purpose of this revised IHR is to prevent, protect against, control, and provide a public health response to the international spread of disease. So the scope is not limited to any specific disease or matter of transmission, as with the previous regulation, but covers illness or medical conditions irrespective of etiology, that present or could present significant harm to humans, such as epidemic-prone diseases, foodborne diseases, and the revised IHR also covers events of international public health concerns, including those linked to toxic chemicals, radiation hazards, and as well as chemical events arising from technological incidents, but also natural disasters, conflict and terrorism caused events, and polluted environments and contaminated food and products are very common and happen worldwide. And so those all have been included under IHR 2005. This new IHR not only covers people, but also baggage, cargo, containers, goods, postal parcels, and human remains that may be contaminated or may carry the source of contamination, since they also pose public health risk. This table actually is a nice side-by-side comparison of IHR 1969 and IHR 2005, so divided into different areas of focus. So here we have types of threat. We already discussed that from cholera, plague, and yellow fever, from 3 threats, all public health emergency of international concern, or FIC, as IHR labels it. So biological, chemical, radiological, or nuclear, or any other types of potential incidents that can cause harm to the international community are included. Focus of activities. So the control disease outbreaks at ports and borders without hampering trade and travel was the focus before. Now, as we just mentioned, detect, report, contain any public health threats at ports, borders, and anywhere they might occur within national borders to prevent international spread, while minimizing impact on travel and trade. So we're focusing on directly the source of the problem. With respect to risk assessment, before it was limited to historical significant diseases such as cholera, plague, and yellow fever, the 3. However, now there's a decision instrument, which we'll discuss in more details later, that helps to evaluate the risk and potential impact of public health event, prompting notification to WHO, where emergency committee of experts can evaluate the risk. So now you're not only notifying a specific diseases, you are evaluating a potential event based on a decision instrument, and without fully understanding, as long as you believe that it poses risk, you notify WHO, and WHO will investigate based on expert knowledge of how to move forward with this spread of disease that poses international response. Before, with respect to response, was predetermined public health controls at points of entry, whereas now it's more flexible, evidence-based response that is also adapted to the nature of the threat. Communication-wise, before it was more ad hoc. Nations could identify proper authority to provide communication, whereas right now notification to and from WHO is via a designated IHR national focal point within each country. With respect to national capacity requirement, public health and infectious disease control measures at port of entry, that was what was done previously. However, now it's more about building capacity to detect, assess, report, and respond to any public health threats in near and real time at national and community level as well. So each country now can start building capacity. So, with respect to summarizing the IHR, the new IHR, so it is a key legally binding global instrument for protection against the international spread of diseases. It outlines the rights, obligations, and procedures and progress monitoring. Also, a second use is to encourage the nations to establish effective surveillance and control by building strong national capacity at all levels within the nation. Third, ensures prompt notification of events that may constitute public health emergency of international concern to WHO within 24 hours, and there are some other diseases that are within 48 hours, but in general 24 hours, that's the norm. Provides appropriate prevention, alert, and response to international public health emergency. And finally, global partnership and international collaboration, so you can learn from each other and from all member states. And we all know the benefit of early detection. So early reporting, early response can save many, many lives by preventing the international spread of diseases and start containing the problem, the source, before it spreads everywhere in this global age of travel. With the help of IHR 2005, and since the start of IHR 2005 was in place, WHO has declared multiple public health emergencies of international concern. And this chart helps you to see between 2009 and 2010, swine flu was declared as a public health emergency of international concern, and we'll learn more about that subsequently. Polio, which is still ongoing, it's a public health emergency of international concern, or fake, and is still ongoing in different parts of the globe. Then Ebola in 2004, 2016, and then Ebola in 2019 to 2022 was declared as a fake, and then Zika virus in 2016, and COVID-19, which we all know from 2020 up until present, and then the monkeypox was also declared in 2022 as a fake. Under the older IHR, these events would not have been reportable. Because of this new IHR, when fake is declared, WHO helps coordinate an immediate response with the affected country and with other countries around the world. This is a big advantage of this new IHR. Okay, hope that was useful. Thank you.